Okay, first things first, we need to grab a SketchUp model. So I'm going to head over to the 3D warehouse. All right. Now on the 3D warehouse, if I just type into here Lumion workflow like that and hit enter, and let's just do a quick search, and there it is. This is our Lumion workflow series model, and this is a real project. All right, so we actually turned this around for an architect that was designing an addition to a building on a campus on the East Coast there. So check this out. 7 megabytes. This is a super lightweight model. We're going to download this as a SketchUp 2019 model. I'm going to save it in my temp folder in my webinar, and we'll just leave the file name intact, and I'll hit save. All right, so that super lightweight 7 megabytes drops into that temp folder. I'll click on it at the bottom left corner of my screen, and that way that's going to automatically open up in SketchUp. All right, so once that gets opened, we're going to take a look at how we actually put this model together. So keep in mind that you don't have to model everything, all right? So a couple tips, you don't have to model everything. You know, you don't want to model the backside. You want to be aware of how many surfaces you're including in your model. You want to be aware of the materials and where you're getting your materials and how big those materials are. So those are all the things that you got to keep an eye on. There's a lot of different strategies for that, but I just want to make the point that like this campus building, it's a 7 megabyte model. I mean, that's tiny. All right, so I'm going to click on Design. That Design tab at the top left corner, that's what really lets me see the SketchUp model. This cover image is what I did for the thumbnail of that model, so it shows up as a Lumion rendering. But if you click on Design, you can really orbit around and take a look at this model. It's super lightweight, super snappy, and you can see that we did not model the backside. You know, we were on a deadline. This is where you work on fixed fees and you need to get things done and out the door. So we're not going to waste our time agonizing over everything on the backside. We know that we need a couple shots from like here, here, and here. Something like that, you know. So only model what you need. All right, so this is the SketchUp model, and we have a ton of tutorials on SketchUp at sketchupforprofessionals.com, and you can learn how to model like we do as well. But for today, we're talking about Lumion. So let's split our screen and hop over into Lumion. All right, so I want to show you how easy it is to get your SketchUp model over into Lumion. So this is Lumion right here. When I click to start a plain scene, that's going to fire up a brand new scene like that. And you know, the thing about Lumion, I mean, it's just this blows me away every time that like the lighting, it looks like it's supposed to. It's not like a black background with a bunch of meshes and boxes and dialogues. It's just a super clean program that's very intuitive and easy to understand, really. All right. So all I need to do in SketchUp is click this button. It says Start Live Sync. This is the Lumion Live Sync toolbar. When I click that play button, it drops my model over into Lumion, and you can start the camera sync, and now you can see that my model is ready to rock and roll. All right, so I can always kind of adjust my camera views and take a look. And you know, on a webinar, it's tough because I'm splitting my screen, so this isn't like the most valuable view, but I'll tell you, this is super handy if you're doing a presentation and you can max out your Lumion screen and then on the monitor for everyone to watch, and then max out your SketchUp screen so you can move around and present. So anyway, what we're going to do now is get this model put into place. So I'm going to maximize my Lumion screen, and I'm going to select that model, and let's see, we just want to move it straight up. Okay, so one way to do that is if I back up a little bit, I can see the node here. I can move it straight up above the ground plane. So I don't want to have anything conflicting with that ground plane. Now, what I always do is I use this type in command. So I click there, and then I set the Y dimension to be 5. I always set my models at 050. The reason I do this is so that if I'm going to import other models, like let's say I build my site in SketchUp, I need to pull in a building from Revit, and I've modeled a piece of art in Rhino. Well, I can merge all those in, and if I know the base point, it makes it really easy to pull all those models in together and drop them in place where they're supposed to be, rather than eyeballing it. It's got to be perfect. So 050, that's where it's at. Okay, so then the next part of this is going to be for getting our model set up is I'm just going to kind of float. Well, let's zoom in and take a look at the bottom here. where our model meets the site. Now, I really want the Lumion terrain to kind of mound up. And so I'll go to my landscape tool, go to raise, and my brush size, I can make that a little bit bigger. And I think the brush speed is probably okay. And see, I can just kind of drag along here and set up a, I'm gonna reduce my brush speed just a little bit. All right, so we'll go and just kind of drag all the way along here and just get that Lumion terrain to kind of sync up with my building. And it's okay to like zoom way out and just kind of go through here. And I don't have to be real precise with this because first off, I'm not gonna see that backside of the building, and I'm really gonna frame my views in such a way that, like, you know, I'm gonna see only what we want. I'm only gonna show what I wanna show. All right, but let's go zoom in on this. And what I'm trying to do here is, if like I set up my view to be, I know that this is the view I'm gonna use, is some roughly like this. And what kills any sort of view in any rendering program is when you can see that horizon line. So I just want a little bit of a mound here so that I can build up my landscape, build up my trees, and kind of cover that horizon line and make that a little bit easier. So that's really what I'm getting at here. All right, so let's see. Let me double check my notes here, make sure I covered everything. All right. And the last thing I'm going to do in this portion is I'm going to adjust our sun and change the heading. There we go. I want to get those shadows kind of falling on the front of the building there. Cool.